Good evening, everyone. This is Brendan Magnan, Chair of the Milford Inland's Wetlands Agency. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the agency for April 3rd, 2024. Lisa, could you please call the roll?
Daniel Bedecker.
Here.
Ranjit Bahav. Brian Black.
Here.
Jim Connors.
Here.
Matthew Connors.
Here.
Buddy Field.
Here.
Steve Munson.
Here.
Nick Ritchie.
Here.
Julie Valvo. Brendan Magnan.
I'm present. Thank you, Lisa. Buddy, could you please fill as designated alternate this evening?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Apologies, my camera is flirting with technology tonight. As we continue to host remote meetings, please ensure that your cameras are on and that your lines are muted until recognized by the chair, that's me. In accordance of the Freedom of Information Act and Governor Lamont's executive orders, this meeting is being recorded and will be made available on the City of Milford website and is being broadcast live on YouTube as we speak. At this time, I'd like to invite everybody to stand, unmute yourselves, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
Which stands
to the republic,
God, indivisible, and liberty and justice.
nation, under God, liberty, justice.
Okay, thanks everybody. Steve, your video is delayed.
Please note, Commissioner Bahav has entered the room.
Thank you. Does that mean we have more than, sorry, just let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we have 9 voting members. That's great.
Mary Rose, I just joined. I had a problem with my Zoom.
Thank you, Mr. Carangelo. If you could just mute until we get to your item. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite anyone from the public that would like to address the agency on topics not otherwise on the agenda. Is there anyone here from the public wishing to address the agency on topics not otherwise on the agenda? Is there someone that wants to speak with a phone number ending in 1659?
Yes, that's mine.
Okay.
Frank Carangelo.
Okay.
Am I still, I'm not muted yet?
No.
I'm gonna hit the button to ask you to mute, okay? Or I can mute you, okay? There you go. All set.
Great, thanks, Mary Rose. Moving on to old business, IWC 23001, that's 68 Surf Avenue and City of Milford, Willow Street right of way. Map 27, block 472A, parcel 43, Elizabeth McDonald, owner.
Through you, Mr. Chair, this is the violation that was issued in December. At our last meeting on 3/20, the agency modified that violation to require the property owner to complete the following work and call for an inspection by May 9th, 2024. To remove the shed, remove the temporary shed, and garden back onto their own property, and to move the fence back to the property line. The week of 3/25, City Engineering Bureau did put the last stake in at the rear property line at the boundary of west of Willow Street. I recommend no action this evening. I have not heard from the applicant, and nor do I expect to until May.
Thank you, Mary Rose. We'll move on to item D2, please.
Yep. This is, let me just share the screen. There we go. The plan. Nope, sorry, went too far. Okay, this is the application at 149 Castle Lane for the installation of a 16 by 32 in-ground pool with a, I'm not sure that it has a concrete surround, and associated grading and appurtenance work, all within 100 feet of a wetland in the South Central Shoreline Watershed, by Frank Carangelo. The agency received this application at the last meeting and can take action this evening if they so choose. In your meeting documents tonight was a soil report by Jim Sipperly. He's a certified soil scientist, and a site plan by Connecticut Land Surveying, which you're seeing on the screen now. Those were submitted by Mr. Carangelo this week. Property owner has staked out the proposed pool location and the approximate silt fence location. As shown on the map that you're seeing, that silt fence is going to need to be adjusted minorly back from 1 foot on this end to 4 feet on this end to adjust for the proposed grading. The wetlands on the property are associated with Calf Pen Meadow Creek, and they're shown on the plan to be approximately 32 feet from the proposed pool, from here to here, and approximately 20 feet from the proposed grading at the closest points. I visited the site yesterday, and my sidewalk notes and photos are in the meeting documents. I'll show you this evening. I apologize, the photos are not that great. It was a little bit dark when I was out there yesterday. This first photo is as you come to the back of the property from the right-hand side. You can see this little orange dot I've highlighted to call out where the stake for the right rear corner of the pool is. And generator heater mechanicals for the pool will be located in roughly this area that the mouse is scrolling on. This is going to the back of the property. This is the electrical service for the former pool, the above ground pool that was on the site previously. This is that back rear right stake. Wetland flags, I swear showed when I was taking the picture, but they just don't come out. It was too dark. They just didn't show up. There's flags 1A through 6A on this right-hand side of the screen. And then I think it's 1 through 10 on the left-hand and center of the screen. On this plan, I was able on the photo to find some of the flags. I've denoted them with a blue dot, make it a little easier to see where that is. This wetland flag here would be, not that one, sorry, would be roughly over in here, one of these two. These wetland flags here appear to be flags 6, 7, 8, and 9 as shown on the plan. Again, I apologize. And that would be 6, 7, 8, and 9. See the thing. And this number 6 is the closest point to both the pool and the grading. Again, this is flag 6. This is the right rear corner flags pool stake. Standing at approximately the other right side of the pool, the closer side. This is that right rear stake. The left stake is just almost off the property. I mean, sorry, off the photo. And I believe these are flags 4 over here and flag 6. Flag 5 wasn't visible in this photo. Again, left rear of the pool, right rear of the pool. And I believe this is flag 5. You can see it from this angle. And this photo is the right rear of the pool. And this is, I think 6, this is 1A. And then this might be 6 and 4 or 5. Sorry, I didn't note that. The silt fence will need to move back about a foot here and about 4 feet over here to accommodate the grading on the proposed plan. I'm going to flip back to the plan, hopefully. So I was standing over in this area where the mouse is, looking at this corner of the pool, roughly here. There's the corner of the pool. Those are the flags. The grading, the silt fence would have to move back to accommodate that grade number 7. And then we have the soil scientist report.
Mary Rose, if I may, on the map, yeah, what's the contour, the grade from the edge of the pool, the proposed pool, I should say, to the silt fence area? Can you help?
It looks like they're going to try to hold the pool at 9 to keep, you know, obviously you want the pool level. And so from here, well, this more looks like 8.5, but if this was 8.5, this would be 8, that would be 7. So you've got roughly 1.5 foot drop over this distance, which is probably similar to what you're seeing in that side shot photo. It's not a significant grade over that distance.
Anything else to give us orientation on, Mary Rose? I think you had a comment in the documentation around the silt fence would need to be installed according to standards.
Correct. The silt fence here, Mr. Carangelo had put it in before the last meeting to show about where he'd put it. When he brings in the excavator for the pool, he would appropriately bury it. Bottom 6 inches are buried to the line so that water running in this direction down the hill is caught in the J hook of the silt fence and doesn't run off onto the remainder of his property and into the wetlands.
Anything else you'd like to share before we open it up for discussion?
No, Mr. Carangelo is here, and you can ask him any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mary Rose. Questions from the agency at this time?
Mr. Chair,
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Field, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, through you. Just basically a comment. I'm looking at all the grade changes. He did a great job and basically explained to us exactly what's going to happen. There aren't any really great grade changes. It goes anywhere from, like Mary Rose said, by the corner of the pool, maybe a foot and a half down by where the Cynthia is, the hedgerow. It blends right into there. They actually did a nice job with it. And now they also did mention on 3 sides of the patio, 3 sides of the pool, he's going to have a patio. And Mr. Colangelo, through the chair, are those 3 sides, the 2 sides and the side closest to the house? So is the side furthest from the house, that's going to be just basically lawn, correct? Because it's not shown in the plan.
Mr. Carangelo, you can answer that. If you want to unmute yourself, we don't hear you at this moment.
I'm gonna.
Now we can hear you.
Oh, I guess he's having a problem with his thing, but I mean, if the patio's on the 3 sides, not on the wetland side.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Carangelo. Go ahead.
Okay, I think I've lost my video now. I got it. Here we go. I'm sorry, the question was about the patio?
Yeah, through the chair, what 3 sides have the patio walkway?
Yeah, I'm not going to do a walkway on the side closest to the wetlands. I figure it would be in best interest to have minimal there because we could start the grading process as soon as possible rather than going out and then grading down anymore because I don't want it to be too tight. So I would probably just do the coping for the pool rim, which is necessary, and maybe a foot or so of concrete, because I need to have the winter cover, would have to be strapped. Normally it would be strapped to the concrete with the bushings that go into the concrete. But I would just do a very minimal and then have the fence. And then the grading can go right down from that point.
Thank you, Mr. Colangelo. Any other questions, Mr. Field?
No, I mean, everything, I'm looking at the recommendations from the wetland scientist, soil scientist. He had recommended to possibly put more vegetation in back, which, would be up to, of course, to the board to decide, which would add, a buffer to the wetlands that much more once everything stabilizes and grows in. But no, everything, it looks good. It's now that we have a plan in front of us, it looks, we have an idea as to what he's planning, and the grades aren't as great as, we might have thought in the first place.
Thank you very much, Mr.
No,
Field.
I don't think they are.
Anything else from the agency, Mr. Connors?
Yeah, I have a comment, Brandon.
Go ahead.
I think the plan is a very workable plan now. I agree with Buddy. I'm not trying to engineer the plan, but if he comes out the foot and a half or 2 feet, he's going to need that for his cover. That's true. But if he went another 3 or 4 feet and put some shrubs there and his fence behind the shrubs, it would aesthetically look a lot nicer for his own benefit.
I could do that. I could do that. I could do some landscaping.
Might create some stabilization as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, Connors? Is that what you're thinking, Mr. Connors?
Yes, I am. I mean, aesthetically, it'll look better than a fence right up against the pool. And we'll give a claustrophobic feeling.
Yeah, and create some stabilization for the area.
Yes, it will.
Any other comments from the agency?
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Connors?
I guess this would be directed at Mary Rose. I saw that there's a flood zone line. Obviously, the pool is within the flood zone. Is that like a 50, 100-year flood? What type of flood zone is that exactly?
Through you, Mr. Chair, on your screen now, the kind of magenta line on the plan is the demarcator between the FEMA flood zone elevation 11 line, which is obviously waterward, and the flood zone X, which doesn't get inundated more than a foot in a special flood event. So the implication of that is it may or may not qualify the Corangelos to be able to buy flood insurance. From an in-ground pool perspective, water may come over the top of the pool when we get a flood. Given the location in the landscape, they may want to put a check valve in the pool so that the hydrostatic pressure doesn't push up their lining. But from a wetland perspective, the flood zone is a non-issue. And I think even the flood manager does not consider an issue with in-ground pools. It's like having a ground full. It doesn't change the amount of water that can go over the area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Rose. Thank you, Mr. Connors. Any other questions from the agency?
Yeah, I have a comment on the hydrostatic pressure from personal experience. If you do the bottom of the pool in a vermiculite cement before you put your liner, it'll alleviate 90% of the problem.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
Good idea.
That's what we're doing. It also helps with wrinkles in the liner too. Keep wrinkles away. But yeah, it will also add good support, stability. So that is in the plan to happen.
Very good plan.
Okay. Is there enough information to make a decision tonight? And Mary Rose, I guess a more kind of a preceding question to you. If the agency were inclined to approve this, wouldn't we need to have those design features that we discussed earlier reflected on the plan before approving it?
Yeah, the change in the silt fence could be a field change. The location of the concrete, we could have it, you can instruct it to be at a construction plan. Our understanding is it'll be no more than 3 feet to the rear. And I don't have a sizing on the side. I would imagine it's probably about 6 feet. Mr. Crangelo, what's the sizing of the patio on the sides of the pool? Is it connecting to the existing patio?
6 feet.
So so the proposal is 6 feet on 3 sides and 3 feet on one on the rear.
Yes, on the rear, it would probably be 3 feet max.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that being a site condition if that's the purview of the agency to proceed this evening and not have to bring it back before us in 2 weeks' time.
I'm in favor of approving it.
Is it the agency's proposal to include mitigation plantings along the rear 3-foot concrete on that slope?
Yes, please.
Do you have a volume? You want it 5 foot on center, 3 foot on center? What are you looking at?
Any thoughts, recommendations?
I would say an aesthetic planting back there to look nice from the pool and create the stabilization.
So we'll have plantings no greater than 5 feet on center.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the size of the plantings he wants to do. I mean, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. I mean, it's not a wetlands planting, so something looks aesthetic to the pool. Combination
Well,
of
it's aesthetic
all
for the
others.
pool and for stabilization. So plantings no greater than 5 feet on center and stabilization of the slope.
Mr. Ricci, do you
sounds
have
good.
something you wanted to add?
Through you, Mr. Commissioner, I was just gonna say 5 feet on center, but Mary Rose beat me to it.
Sorry, thank you.
That's okay.
I just saw your hand raised, sorry.
That's okay.
So it sounds like, Mayor Rose, we prefer you to read the motion that Jim made, since you have the conditions.
Somebody else will have to read the motion. I couldn't print them.
I got it. Hold
Yeah,
on.
Mary Rose can read them since we're adding to them.
Let me stop the share and get the document back. There we go. Okay, so proposed motions as written was, Mr. Chairman, after duly considering all relevant factors, I move to approve application IW 230011-149 Castle Lane based on the plans entitled Improvement Location Survey prepared for Frank J. Carangelo, 149 Castle Lane, Milford, Connecticut, by Connecticut Land Surveying LLC, one sheet dated 4/1/24. The information in the file and presented this evening for the following reasons. This action will not have an impact or effect on the physical characteristics of the adjacent wetlands and watercourses. With conditions including the permittee must submit a construction plan prior to taking out the permit. Soil erosion and sedimentation controls is outlined in the plans and in the Connecticut DEP 2023 erosion and sedimentation control guidelines. Must be installed and maintained on the site until the property is stabilized. Wetland notification to be placed on the as-built to give notification to property owners that permits are required from the MIWA to work on the site. Documentation to be submitted to the MIWA office prior to bond release. A 6-foot concrete patio on each side on 3 sides of the pool. 3-foot concrete, an area no greater than 3 feet on the rear of the pool. and plantings no greater than 5 foot on center adjacent to that 3 foot concrete area for slope and vegetation for slope stabilization. The silt fencings to be located in line with the proposed grading. Compliance with any of the city engineer's requirements for stormwater. A bond of $4,100 must be posted with the MIWA for erosion and sedimentation controls, border plantings, boundary markers, and an as-built showing the finished 2 foot contours and locating all site structures. Permit is issued 4/3/24 and expires 4/3/29 unless otherwise provided by statute.
I make that motion.
That is a motion by Mr. Jim Connors. Do we have a second on the floor?
I second it.
Mr. Buddy Field, thank you. Any discussion on the motion? I would just acknowledge Mr. Carangelo, great job of putting together the required information we needed from our last meeting, the soil scientist report, the plans. It looks great. You've already heard. So without any other discussion, there's no other discussion. Lisa, roll call vote.
Daniel Bedecker,
Aye.
Ranjit Bahav,
Aye.
Brian Black,
Aye.
Jim Connors. Jim,
Aye.
Matthew Connors,
Aye.
Buddy Field,
Aye.
Steve Munson,
Aye.
Nick Ritchie,
Aye.
Brendan Magnan.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Good luck with the project, Mr. Carangelo.
Thank you so much. Mary Rose,
Yes.
I have to pay an application fee to you by check?
Yes, you do. If you give me a call in the office tomorrow or talk to Taft, we can take care of that for you. You can also pay it on
Okay.
the online fee. It was queried in when the application came in.
Okay, no problem. And so I should be able to go to the building next.
Yes. We'll put this through the system tomorrow. This will go in the newspaper, the Milford Mirror, next Thursday. There is a 15-day appeal period. If you wish to pull your permit before then, you will have to sign a hold harmless that if anyone were to appeal it based on the newspaper notice, you are responsible for any issues about putting things back the way they were.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you again. You'll get instruction from the office tomorrow, Mr. Carangelo.
Thank you.
For coming before the agency. Really appreciate your help.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Moving on to item
Bye-bye.
1, Mary Rose.
I apologize. That numbering was wrong. This should be, yes, this is E1. I don't apologize. It was right. This is E1, IW 240026, 4 Willem Court. Let me just check. No, we don't have anybody in the waiting room. Sorry about that. This is 4 Willem Court. It's for the construction of a single-family home. Let me put that map up for you. This is for construction of a single-family home with construction and grading within 150 feet of wetlands associated with Beaver Brook by R&R Living Trust. The agency approved a single-family home on this lot at the time of the subdivision. The proposed house has a different configuration than what was approved, and that's why it's before you this evening. This lot was approved with a conservation easement along Beaver Brook. You can see that on the left side of the photo. It's the conservation easement is the hatched area, the dotted area. The wetlands.
I'm sorry, Mary Rose. I don't see anything being shared. I'm not sure if others do.
Sorry, that's
No,
my
I haven't
bad.
seen anything.
There we go. There we go. My apologies.
No.
So this is lot 13, also known as 4 Willem Court. It's part of the Miranda Meadows subdivision that was approved by the agency in 2020. This lot has a large triangular piece of a conservation easement on it. The hatched area is the conservation area easement. The V on the line shape shows the wetland associated with Beaver Brook. This is the proposed 4-bedroom dwelling on this house, on this lot, and the stormwater system. This line here with the black dots on it is a split rail fence that was required by the agency at the time of the approval for demarcation of the edge of the conservation easement. Conservation easement was offered by the developer at the time and was approved in our approval and in the zoning approval. The silt fence, the split rail fence is up. The boundary markers have not been, the conservation markers have not been put up yet. The proposed plan has work, as you can see from this, about 12 feet, 12 inches from the easement, and no work in the easement as shown on the plan. The document submitted by Mr. Rizza with his application calls for approval to remove the split rail fence and to do some excavation and construction in that area, and then to regrade the area and restore it. It doesn't talk about replacing the fence. When this was approved with the conservation easement that was submitted and approved and went through wetlands and zoning, there was a qualifier in there that no work could be done in the conservation easements without approval from the inland wetland or the zoning board. So the first step the agency has to step through while reviewing this application is, would you allow work in the conservation easement? The plan doesn't show any work in the conservation easement, although digging 12 inches off of that fence is going to impact that fence. The proposal written by Mr. Rizza does discuss working in that easement. So that needs to be clarified. And I apologize. I don't know why the Rizzas are not with us this evening. So the agency's first step in considering this is would you allow work in that easement? And the second step is, okay, if you're going to allow work in that easement, how much work are you going to allow in that easement? How do you want to see that done? How do you want it shown on the plan? And what do you want done afterwards?
Okay, I have a question, Rose. Bye-bye.
Mr. Connors, go ahead.
Yeah, is the work in that easement, well, number one, is this house going to have a basement? I presume not with the brook there. Or is it going to be on a slab?
No, Mr. Connors, the basement elevation is shown at 107, which is conveniently the elevation of the brook. I've pointed that out to Mr. Rizza and suggested he may want to discuss that with his engineer.
Yeah, okay, because I was going to say, if they're just digging a footing, they can stay pretty close to that easement and not damage it. If they're going to dig an actual foundation, then they're going to be into the easement. You know, there's not a foundation for a basement house. Let's put that way.
Correct. I think in Mr. Rizza's documentation, no, he states that he's only going down 3 feet for the footings, or the 42-inch hole.
That's going to be a slab. Yes, okay.
Right. So that's what's shown that's what's shown in what he's speaking, and this is what you see when you look at the plan. So
Is the difference in this house from the one that was approved, is it a larger house now?
Yes, it is. If we look at this is an aerial taken after obviously the subdivision was under construction. Previous to this, if you look at the previous aerial. This is what it looked like when we walked the site, and there was like a barn building and a house. You may recall it with the brook in the back.
Mm-hmm.
If we switch to the more recent aerials, roughly, and I will have for you in the documents, I'll have Taft put it in tomorrow. The house that was proposed on the site was more of a Cape style house, a significantly smaller house.
Yes, okay.
Mary, given that this is the first time we're hearing this, I recommend that we, take the time to review the documentation between now and the next meeting and prepare questions for the applicant.
Is there anything right now that the commissioners feel that they would like to see?
For you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I guess just more specific, just being more specific in terms of why they need to take down that fence and what they're actually going to be doing inside of the easement. Is it like, I know it says for access, so I'm assuming, this is based on a guess. We just need clarification in terms of vehicles driving in and out of the easement or whatever they're going to be doing. And I kind of would like to know, Mary Rose, if you've been to the site in terms of, are there trees in the way? What type of vegetation is in the way? Are they going to be removing any vegetation out of the easement? That sort of thing.
Right. I have site pictures for you. I'm sorry, they weren't prepared for this evening. The site has been cleared. It was mainly cleared by the original developer and started to be cleared by this owner. And once we saw the site plans, we saw that it needed to come back before you because the house size was significantly different. The plan that you hopefully see now, it says lot 13. Is everyone seeing this?
Yes.
Okay. This was the house that was proposed and approved by the agency to show that a house would fit on the lot with the conservation easement as proposed. And so that's what the agency has approved. And if we switch back.
So he's basically doubling the size of the house.
Yeah.
So that's what's being proposed. So apologies, my camera keeps going off, but I'll try to turn it back on. But I'd like to understand the rationale for that because we did contemplate the matter previously and we approved it for certain reasons. So the applicant has an onus to give us the rationale for the change.
Okay, so
I just
rationale for-
noticed that, sorry, the driveway originally is on the other side too. So is there a setback issue by moving the house closer to the existing structure on the other side?
no, the driveway's on the same side on both drawings.
I thought it's on the house side, not the wetland side.
Let's see what am I sharing? Hold on.
Mr. Chair, can I direct through you just some information on the property?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm extremely familiar with the subdivision. I built a house across the street, and I had the same restrictions when I built the house across the street. I went through the same thing I'm going through now. And the homeowner I built for, through my guidance and recommendations, I told her to stay away from it. He's only 12 inches off, and even if you have construction equipment there, this is a full basement. His trench is going to be about the brook is at elevation 109. He's got proposed at 110 that's going through the back corner of the house. His back corner grade is probably going to be about at 109 and a half. So he's going to be in the ground about 3-4 feet. When they go to excavate that, and when they go to backblade it and everything, it's tight there. And, they knew what they had when they bought it. A thing I would recommend, honestly, is go out there and walk it. You could see exactly, where it's going to be, what it's going to be. I know a picture's worth 1,000 words. And if you're 5 feet away, that's one thing, but he's 12 inches away from the fence. And what he's talking about is those are full 8-foot walls. Okay. You're going to need 3 feet of workspace to operate those panels and everything safely. So right there and then you're already talking 2 feet beyond the fence, and you're probably going to need another foot or two just for error. So if there's nothing on the other side of that conservation easement fence, let's just say it's just grass, that's one thing that can be easily fixed. But let's just say, for argument's sake, there's trees there. So what's he going to start cutting down trees now? And I honestly think, because of the conservation easement out there, and I'm extremely familiar with it, I think it's maybe something the board might want to consider, to actually go out there and physically see where this guy wants to move into, where he wants to go beyond the fence, so we can get a view of it. And it's, I mean, the conservation easements are designed for a reason. At least that's my feeling on it. And you know, if you had a conservation easement that was flat and just grass, that can be, regraded and seeded. But if it's a conservation easement that has small trees and bushes and things like that, it's up to this agency to decide, how we feel fit to rebuild that, even if we want to address that.
I agree with that sentiment, Mr. Field. I personally think a site walk would be fine, would be helpful. My premonition is, there was an original permit granted, and someone needs to persuade me as to why that building needs to be bigger.
Mhm.
In the first place.
I mean, it's significantly bigger, double.
And to your point, I guess I'll just echo your point that the conservation easement is one that needs to be respected. And that's the predisposition that we should all have.
And the other thing, through the chair, the other thing too is, once this place is built and 2, 3 years or 4 years go down the road, and say we leave the commission or whatever it may be, things change. Who's to say, because this guy's so close, he's got to mow his lawn, he has to take care of it. Who's to say this guy just to say, hey, I'm going to take the fence down? Do you know what I mean? So why create a problem to make it so close when, you're giving someone an excuse to go into it? And this is just from experience I've seen over years.
Implied ownership.
Yeah. I mean, they do own they do own the easement, but if you only have a house a foot off,
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is actually entering the meeting. So you'll be able to ask him some questions.
Great.
Good evening, Mr. Rizza. Your application has been read into the record and reviewed. If you can see on the screen, we've got the map of your proposed property. Agency's been informed that while your plan doesn't show it, your application discusses removing portions of the fence to allow construction to safely occur, because your proposed foundation is 12 inches off of the conservation easement off the fence. Your document doesn't contemplate or discuss putting that fence back at the end of the job, and that was one question. Other questions were the original house proposed for the lot and approved by this agency was significantly smaller, and that, why distances away from the conservation easement line could not be held. Mr. Chair, did I synopsize correctly?
Correct. Hi, Mr. Rizza. This is Brendan Magnan, Chair of the Inland Agency. I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to those questions, preferably answering the last question first.
I'm getting a lot of echoing, and I can't understand what you're saying.
Oh, geez.
Okay. Let's try again. Mr. Rizza, can you hear me? Mayor Rose, is there any way you could chat to him and have him call in a certain number?
Let me see.
Yeah, it's echoing. I'm hearing two conversations at the same time.
Let's know if he can hear you.
Yeah,
I'll go on.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but if you can't hear us, we're going to invite you to make a phone call into the meeting.
Yeah, it's echoing at my end. I'm hearing two conversations at once.
Right. So what we have you do is hang up the video and call into the meeting. Just give Mary Rose a moment to give you that number.
Mr. Rizzo, I would leave your video on so you can see what's happening.
Give me a phone, it's ringing. Hello? I can.
Now you can't. Can you hear?
Mary Rose, I think you're muted.
Okay. Okay, what's the phone number? Yep. Yep. 6099. Yeah, I have that. Yes. Yeah, okay. They'll ask me that on the phone call. Okay. Okay. Computer monitor muted. All right, I can.
Sorry, Steve, I knew I was muted, but I knew there would be feedback, so I wanted to just minimize that
Thank
for
you, Mary
everyone
Rose.
to deal with.
He's going to be calling in, correct?
Yep, correct. I'll put the map up.
That'd be great.
Maybe.
When he calls in, I'll ask him the first question.
All right.
That's perfect. Thank you, Mary Rose.
No, that's the old map. Sorry. That's
You can, no, that's fine. Leave that one up.
all right.
Is there a way you can approximate the distance between the proposed house that was approved and the edge of the conservation easement?
Yeah. Soon as I figure out what the scale is.
This meeting is being recorded. You have been added to the waiting room. You cannot talk or listen until the host admits you to the meeting.
Sorry, I just need to admit.
You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Mary Rose, mute his line. He unmuted himself on the video.
Okay, I'm here. I know what's going on.
There we go. How's that, Mr. Rizzo? Can you hear us now?
He's muted.
Mr. Rizzo, if you can hear us, you have to unmute your telephone line.
Oh.
Mr. Rizzo, unmute your telephone line and mute your video.
Yeah.
The host would like to your mic. You can press to unmute.
Mary Rose, maybe you can unmute his telephone line for him.
I can't unmute it, but I can ask, which I've already done. Just to unmute. I don't recall the key sequence for unmuting. Sorry, give me a second.
Okay.
not working.
No, it's not working. Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, best course of action is to tell him to hang up the phone now because his video seems to be fine on Zoom.
Well, the issue is he can't hear us though through the video.
Right. Mr. Rizza, if you can hear me, if you can type *6 on your telephone, *6.
Mary Rose, maybe you could share your Word document and type it in on the screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
We can't hear you, Mr. Rizzo. You have to hit *6 on your physical phone. You have to hit on your phone. You're looking at it, but you have to hit *6.
I can't.
There you go.
I'm already done.
Now mute your computer.
I don't know
turn
what.
the sound off on your computer because it's echoing.
I think I'm gonna go back to the computer because the phone is worse.
We can hear you though.
Okay, so
Okay, let's try again.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you
I'm off
fine.
the
Can you
phone.
hear
I'm
us?
back on the screen.
Okay. Let's start with, by way of introduction, I'm the chair of the Inland Wetlands Agency, and I just want to ask you the question initially. We previously reviewed this building among other buildings, and we approved what's being shown on the screen, where there's a approximately 33-foot distance between the proposed dwelling, the proposed house, and the conservation easement.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, we got off the phone.
that made it worse, Mary
You
Rose.
made it worse.
I was getting all kinds of background noise. Now the phone is off. I'm back on the screen.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, so could you address the question, which is, we approved this building with a approximate 33-foot distance between the perimeter of the house and the perimeter of the easement.
Right.
Why are you not holding to that?
I'm off the phone. I'm off the phone.
Mr. Rizza,
I'm
can you
not
answer
using
the
the phone
question?
line. I'm on the screen.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, Mr. Rizzo, I have a question for you.
Yes, I heard your question. The original approval was a colonial home on each lot. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so why are you proposing a significant increase in the house size? Did you hear the question? Mr. Rizzo, did you hear the question?
Yes. Yes. The answer to that question, the original plan had a colonial. The original.
I think there might be a significant delay. He might be hearing something delayed.
Okay, Mr. Rizzo, I'm going to ask that you come before us at the next meeting. We're going to need to proceed on to other business. In preparation for the next meeting, you can call the office and confirm your internet connection before the meeting, or confirm your attendance through telephone so that there's no delay. But we can't continue in this manner tonight.
Okay.
So please make a phone call to Mayor Rose in the office tomorrow to coordinate your participation in the meeting in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Oh, I can do that.
Thank you.
If you can hear me, I can answer that
No,
question
they don't
now.
want- they don't want it.
Yeah,
I think it's best that we convene when you're having no technical issues and we can have a dialogue. Right now, this isn't a really good
Okay.
use of your time or our time. So simply come back before us at the next meeting, and we'll make sure you have ample time to prepare responses to the questions that we have.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Mayor Rose, let's move on to the next item, please.
The next item is item F, consideration of minutes of the previous meeting.
Can you show the agenda, please? Is there a motion to approve the minutes that were distributed?
I'll make that motion, Brendan.
Thank you, Mr. Carnes. Is there a second on the motion?
Second it.
Second by Mr. Ritchie. Any discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion, Lisa, roll call vote, please.
Daniel Bedecker,
Aye.
Ranjit Bahav,
Aye.
Brian Black,
Aye.
Jim Connors,
Aye.
Matthew Connors,
Abstain.
Buddy Field,
Aye.
Steve Munson,
Aye.
Nick Ritchie,
Aye.
Brendan Magnan.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item G, staff report, Mayor Rose.
All right, as you can tell from what you're hearing outside, we've had a significant number of inquiries regarding the high level of water around town and flooding in areas that normally we don't get water in, simply because of the significant rains that we've had over the last several months. We continue to work on the hazard mitigation plan and items for the community action visit for CRS. All that information is in your notes. There are links to training. There's a virtual and live training by the Connecticut DEP tomorrow night for Beach Association Guide that they had published. It's a question and answer session for folks that may have questions for work in and around the beach areas. If you're interested, you can either attend, and that information is in my notes. No significant changes to our sites. We did have some problems with erosion at 523 Wheelers Farms Road this morning. They freshened up their anti-track pad this afternoon, which hopefully is withstanding this significant rain. Does anybody have any questions for me?
No.
I will ask that if you could, I believe I've synopsized the questions everybody wanted for the application at Fort Willem. If you think of any other questions, if you could email me individually and I will compile them and get them in a letter to Mr. Rizza. I will work with him over the next 2 weeks to get him to hope that he can be able to attend via Zoom and be able to hear and converse with the agency.
Thank you, Mayor Rose. Moving on to Chair's report. Thanks everybody for your participation this evening. As always, your time and your deliberation is very much appreciated. Next meeting is April 14th, same bat channel right here on Zoom. Please, as a reminder, let Mary Rose know if you're unable to attend the meeting. Mary Rose, did you have something else?
I'm sorry, I miswrote that. It's the 17th in the notes. It should be the 17th. I had it wrong.
No problem. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
You may have it.
Motion's been made. Second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, Lisa, I guess you have to do the roll call vote technically. Lisa, you're on.
Daniel Bedecker,
Aye.
Ranjit Bahav,
Aye.
Brian Black,
Aye.
Jim Connors,
Aye.
Matthew Connors,
Aye.
Buddy Field,
Aye.
Steve Munson,
Aye.
Nick Ritchie,
Aye.
Brendan Magnan.
Aye. Motion carries. Have a good night, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks,
Have a
you
good night.
too.
Thank
Stay
you.
dry.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience.
Good night,
Can I get
all.
a second to that motion?
Buddy.
Thank
Oh.
you very much.
Good night.
Thank you,
Right.
Lindsay. We're all set. Have a good evening.
Take care.